All right. Serious question here. Woody, do you know if Wings is getting married?
I saw him say that he was engaged. He made several references to her. He said that people are all up in his business and want to know about his fiance, but he doesn't want to share too much. This guy was catfished like 2 months ago, 6 weeks ago. How long ago was that?
2 months ago.
Yeah.
Wait. Hold on. So he was catfished. I don't know who you're talking about, by the way. He was catfished.
So the relevance of the catfishing is that we know he was single 2 months ago.
Got it. Okay. And so he just met somebody.
And he's already
and
engaged.
They're engaged.
Yeah. And I don't know. Like Wings' commitment to truth is fleeting sometimes. And
what a nice way to say that.
That's a really nice way to say it. Yeah.
So, like, I don't know what to make of this.
Maybe you would be a good politician.
Too many quotes from the show.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
My commitment to fidelity has at times been fleeting.
So, like, it's amazing to me. Right? I've heard it described as I pronounce you Chuck and Larry type situation. Like maybe he's getting married for a reason other than true love. Like, I don't know.
People get married for lots of different reasons. I mean, like they get married for, safety and security and maybe for tax breaks and for green cards. And it doesn't, it's one of those things that doesn't always have to be only about love. Unfortunately.
He hasn't been lucky in love, for most of his life. So I take that and look at it through a different lens, right? Like maybe here's a guy who, when something good comes along, is more apt to lock in than someone who feels like he could get another girl tomorrow.
Would you go to the wedding?
Yes, I would wear my best dungarees, maybe overalls, whatever fits. No, I would go to. I think I would go. I'm curious. I want to know about it.
I'm not allowed to leave the state, but will you take a camera?
Kyle, you're like, ooh, I'd love to, but I'm stuck here.
Welcome to you.
No, I'm going back to jail.
Hypothetically, would you go, Kyle?
That's a no.
No. I'm thinking like
you want to go?
I'm considering if I would actually go. Like, because it's a bit of a hassle, right? It's 8 hours drive.
Okay.
How long have you known this guy?
10 years.
Decade.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. So yeah, he's an old friend of yours.
Ish.
I'm not completely over that.
I don't know him the way those two do.
When there was another YouTuber attacking my son, and Wings took his side, and I don't know that I'll ever fully get over that.
Ooh.
Yeah, I have a special needs son, and that guy was, he uploaded a video where his friend called him a fucking faggot and worse, and Wings took that guy's side, and I'm never gonna be all the way over it.
Wings canceled a camping trip on. You think that's bad? I was going camping one time and Wings didn't show. Can you believe it?
Wow, that's yeah. I mean,
no,
Woody. So you would go, Woody? You'd go to the wedding, huh?
I'm very curious. You have to know Wings.
Woody would stand when they asked that question.
Right.
I object.
Any reason why these two should not be wed?
I do.
Part 1.
Part 1 of 5. Yeah.
Yeah, his superpower is that, like, regardless of what he's done, somehow you still hope things start turning around for him. That's.
I mean, honestly, I think that reflects positively on you, Woody.
On all three of us.
Well, yeah, that's true.
And by proxy.
Well, you guys want the best for him, so that sounds really nice.
Yeah, you could say that about Kyle, but you could say anything about Kyle.
You can say Kyle can fly, or he has laser beam eyes.
Yeah, Kyle's never been to prison.
Or he's a witch, or he can do hexes.
That's what you need to do, Woody. Or Kyle, send a hex his way.
I just did it.
To get all sorts of evil, any evil intent out of it. Make sure it's a pure wedding. Because these witches say that witchery is for good.
You know
And the
how
fact
I
that
feel
all
about
of their
weddings.
witchery has to do with personal gain is probably probably has nothing to do.
No, I would go to the wedding. If it were like feasible, yeah, I would go because I think it's going to be. I feel like you and I would get back to the hotel room, and we could have some good talks about what we had just witnessed. Like you and I went to Joe Lozon's wedding, and we got out, and I think we both agreed. I was like, hey, that was pretty nice, huh? Yeah, the food was good. It was fucking.
And
all those people were
what's
there.
the guy's name that made Joe Lozon cry? The black guy,
yeah.
Bert from the UFC. Bert, I forget
Yeah,
his last
he's
name.
the guy who like checks on the fighters and makes sure they're like doing the right thing or something. Like on game day. Like
He met a
I don't know.
lot for Joe. He met a lot. So Joe Lozon is a UFC fighter. And,
Oh yeah, I know exactly. I think I don't know if I met him, but I know who he is.
Well, the UFC used to have this guy who kind of took care of the fighters before and after the fight, made sure that, beforehand they had everything they needed, and afterhand they had all the care they needed, right? Like they could be injured, and he would just and this guy meant a lot to Joe. He would also hype him up, and Joe was really receptive to it. And he didn't know, but they got him to the wedding. And he gave a modified version of his pre-fight speech that applied to marriage. And it was pretty neat. It was almost like a song parody, but for
have you taken any aspirin?
but like a marriage hype up thing. And
That's really nice.
yeah,
Wow.
it brought Joe to tears, and that doesn't happen much.
Check your nails. All right, good. Cup. Yep.
So
yeah, that was but yeah, what I was getting at is like, take that experience and go to the other end of the spectrum, and that's what you'd get. Because Joe had a very, I think it's a northern thing more. I'm not saying that southern weddings are like classless, but I think that Joe's wedding seemed like it was like a 6-figure or more wedding. It seemed expensive.
yeah, he's from
I don't know.
Massachusetts, and they do weddings nice there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like that's
Very
an
rich
extremely expensive wedding. And I'm not accustomed to that sort of thing down here. But I'll tell you who's even less accustomed to it, and that's the good folks of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So when I'm sure the after party would be at Buffalo Wild Wings, but I'm not sure that the wedding itself won't be in the parking lot.
I'm not sure the girl's a real life human. This whole thing could be
A demon?
I was poor phrasing. This whole thing could be false.
Well, she could be a Russian bride.
All right, let's take bets here. My bet is real human wedding will not happen. This is the two binary decisions essentially, unless you can think of some other direction this could go. Taylor, is it a real human? And second question, will the wedding happen if it is indeed a real human? Or I suppose the wedding could still technically happen, or he could claim it happened even if it isn't a real human.
The other thing,
I'm
is it a
down.
love marriage is the other thing, or is it like a green card marriage or something?
It is a desperation marriage. It is his greatest dream to be. All right, so getting beyond jokes and stuff. He grew up without his dad, right? So he's got this, he never really had an archetype for a male role model. And so he has his own idea of what it means to be a man. And some of it's right, and some of it you kind of roll your eyes at because he wants to be handy, and he wants to be a truck guy, and he wants to be big and strong, and there's all these things. And part of that is wife and kids. Big part of that. He thinks that being a man means having a wife and kids. And he has long talked about his dream of being married and having kids, and how he thought he'd already be there by now. And so if he found someone who is in a similar mindset, then I could easily see it playing out with him saying, I'm looking to get, are you looking for something serious? And him being like, oh yeah, I want to get married. And her saying, really? Well, I wouldn't be opposed to the idea. And he's like, really? You'd like to get married? Yeah. To me? Yeah. Are you proposing right now? Yes, I am.
And you think they followed through
More
on
tea,
that?
please.
Yeah.
Tea's all, well, one tea. Yeah. No, I think it could easily go down that quickly. Like if it just like boom, 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 and engaged. And then
I think your initial call is correct. I think she's real, and I don't think that a wedding will happen. Like that's where I'm coming down on as far as a guess.
I think.
is-
Okay,
Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
No,
No,
please.
please.
I'll go.
Okay. So
I'll go again.
so I've had this conversation with a number of women over my dating career, and it inevitably results in the same result, which is you have the conversation, and this is like early on in a relationship. It's always like the first month or so. And I'm generally the serious type of guy. Like I'm a monogamous, serial monogamous. So when I'm dating somebody, I'm like, oh yeah, like I definitely want to try and I definitely want to try and just make this a serious relationship, see where it's going to go. I kind of want a future. And whenever you say that, usually the people that I would meet would go, oh, really? Well, I'm also looking for that. And then you have this conversation, and then you both sort of, like you said, you reach that impasse where you go, well, I could get married. Well, I could get married. And then we both look at each other and go, let's wait a few months. That would usually where we would land. We usually like, you know what? Let's just wait a few months and see. Like let things play out. And that's what we always did. And then of course, after a few months of
let's make sure that actually is an ingrown hair, because
yeah. Exactly. And eventually
it's not, by the way.
That's a real nasty one. Yeah.
Don't worry, I got some pills for it.
Don't you hate when your ingrown hairs get large scabs all over them?
And they look like chickenpox and a disease. But after 3 months or so, we go, oh, well, we weren't compatible. We move on, whatever. You think he's the kind of guy to just double down on it? And
Absolutely.
Go, let's do it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think it's not a real person. I think that it's a story he told on Twitch. And it was just a way of him kind of broadcasting a level of success that he's not having right now.
Wow.
Well, I'm glad we all didn't have the same predictions. It would have been a very
Me too.
boring
Time will tell. Time will
Yeah.
tell.
I
And you
don't
want to
wanna-
put some money on this? How about it's like $5 per A and B? A total of 10, and like the most like
I would,
what
but
do
I
you-
think that we half agree that the marriage won't happen. It's just why.
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. That's why I put it this way, because so the one $5 bet would cancel out, and then you would owe me $5 if she is real,
Right.
but only if we definitively find out.
See, I don't want to predict because I don't
So
know
it may
this
be
person.
Right. It could just get all nullified.
I don't know this person at all, but I'll put it this way. If they get married and they can prove it, you all have to pay me $10. How about that?
How about I make sure you get that smart mouth coupon? And
I'll take it. That's a great deal.
Counter offer.
counter offer, a $4 bottle of mouthwash.
I think that not only is she not real, he will eventually take the side of saying that everyone was a sucker for believing it. That he fooled them all. And it was,
That's not his style.
okay.
Wow, that would be it. That's a ballsy move to lie to everybody and then be like suckers.
Dude, he
That's
was
devious.
He was single recently. That's what the catfish thing was. I didn't like this one.
I didn't like it either.
Kyle. Kyle and I saw it in private. We didn't mention it on the show. We thought it was harsh, but here I am. I guess I'm a dick. He had a troll who found him on a dating site, and for weeks, would you say it was 4 weeks, maybe? 1 week, is it?
I think it was 2 months.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
A meaningful period of time. This guy used a fake picture of a different girl and fooled Wings into thinking that she really dug him. And Wings mentioned his girlfriend on the show a couple times, and there were enough clues to realize it was this imaginary person. It was really a dude.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And like I said, romance hasn't been an area where he's thrived. So it's just extra mean, right?
You probably know who this guy is.
I do.
He streams on Twitch, and he's known for raging a lot.
I think recently
he's a big guy.
If I'm thinking of the same guy, is it the guy that recently was like upset and was telling his viewers it's going to be like $10 an hour?
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. Because I've never met him. I don't know him.
I know him quite well. I believe that I am the foremost Wings of Redemption expert in existence.
Okay.
You absolutely are.
He has not been studied by anyone quite so qualified for quite so long in his existence.
Okay.
No.
That might be true.
Like you'll be watching like a Discovery Channel thing, and it's like, this is Dr. Stevenson. He's an expert on this one of the Gaza pyramids. Just one
Yeah.
of them, though. He doesn't
Yeah.
know. Ask him what the names.
That's
of the
how
two
real
are. The
scientists
dude
work. though.
doesn't fucking know. That's what Kyle is with wings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Whenever they go to these specialists and stuff, like I saw this guy talking about whether Indiana Jones was a good archaeologist or not. You know, hypothetically,
course
if he were
not.
real. And they're like, no, it doesn't even make any sense. He's like, he's into the Holy Grail and Mayan temples and this. And he's like, no. Real archaeologists focus on one little thing. There are scientists who only focus on the amount of radioactive element found in like seashell fossils in one region of the world. Their focus is so narrow that they have devoted their entire career to like, okay, I'm only looking for fossilized seahorses with radioactive elements in them that came from an asteroid strike.
What's this? A triceratops horn? Get out of here! I'm looking for water bears in a petri
Literally.
dish.
Dude,
That's
I feel
literally the
so
case.
blessed to live in a timeline where Kyle is that zoned in detail expert on Wings of Redemption.
Just on the one streamer, Wings of Redemption. Dude.
He lived with
One
me
thing.
for a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
All right.
I'm ground zero.
I never doubted you. I never doubted you to begin with.
I listened. I
doubted him.
smelled.
Oh.
I was right there on the front lines.
Yeah, no, I never doubted you.
Yeah, a real saving
It's
private.
the
Ryan.
worst month I've ever had, and I've been to prison.
for 2 months. Yeah.
Both
If
of
they
those
said-
were better than that one.
If they said, "Look, Kyle, you can go back to the clink, do another month with snow, or Wings of Redemption is going to move into the bedroom right next to yours." Well, he won't be in prison, though, right? Like,
All right,
all right, I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm going.
So
You know, I've got a hankering for chili.
was he the worst? He was the worst roommate you've ever had?
I have only had, well, I've had a lot of female roommates, but as far as dudes, I've only had 2 others. And those were when I was like 19, 20 years old.
Yeah.
These 2 cool ass fucking Lithuanian dudes who were like 24. So they've got booze and marijuana, and like 19-year-old me, just like, you know, they're kind of showing me what to do. And, you know, these guys have, you know, one of them's like a bartender at a really fancy restaurant. The other was my coworker selling cars. So like, we had an awesome time. Love those guys to this day. I looked one of them up a little while ago. He owns a business down in Florida doing scuba tours. I'm so happy for him.
That's
Out of
awesome.
that, yeah. I got war stories from living with that man. It was just. There were days when I just hid.
But the war stories are like he pees without closing the door. Like it's not a,
He plays loud music all night. Thump, 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 thump,
All
thump,
night?
late into the
Huh.
night. He's the bedroom next to me. I moved bedrooms.
you did.
Oh,
I
wow.
moved bedrooms.
Jeez.
Like the room that I used to do PKA from back when it was like this little blue room was like like my basement was like 80% finished. I just moved into that room. I lived in that room during when Wings was there. Like I just moved into like there wasn't even a door on the closet. Like it was. I was just like, this is where I'm going to live. I'm on the opposite end of the house and a floor down. Like it was perfect. I'm getting away from him. It was. I don't know if I ever told this story, but me and my girlfriend went down to the basement while he was there, and we smoked some weed. And I didn't want to smoke weed in front of Wings because you know he's got a big mouth. He's gonna let it slip, even if he won't mean to,
Mhm.
but he's gonna like say it accidentally.
You know
or
people
something
are
like
listening, right?
that. Yeah.
Okay. Wings is gonna let everyone know I smoke weed because he does shit like that.
No.
Yeah. Oh shit! Are we still going? No, this is before my arrest. This is like 4 or 5 years ago or whatever. And so we go down to the basement and we smoke some weed and we come back upstairs and we're both real good and stoned and we sit on the couch and he's on the couch too and he goes and I'm thinking like, oh shit, we're busting. He goes, somebody cooking collard greens? I smell collard greens. And we look at each other like, this is the only human on the planet who doesn't know what marijuana smells
It's
like.
so distinctive. I know. Yeah.
Wow.
No, a skunk got hit by a car down the road.
Like he literally didn't know what marijuana smelled like. And we were just like, we start like trying not to giggle, but like I know we stink of it. We just smoked like a couple
And
of
you're
bowls.
stoned, so not giggling.
And we're
stuff.
stoned. And like, it's pretty obvious. I don't know. I'm not. You can't really tell when I'm stoned. I did this show for years, stoned as fuck. So stoned. And every time I went to go take a piss, I was just outside the door.
I knew.
I'm all glassy eyed in here talking about rape and just,
No, I just had to pee again. Very small bladder. Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't. I don't think I've said anything bad about him at all. Really, just everything I've said is true. I find the marriage thing very interesting though, and I would go to the marriage. And if he comes to Georgia, I suggest the Botanical Gardens in Athens, Georgia.
If you do it in Georgia, Kyle will pay for it.
That's right.
Well,
$600 limit.
oh, okay, all right.
$5 a plate.
Yes.
The Western Sizzlin was having a special. What do you want?
You got your $5 fucking Popeyes box. Actually, if I went to a friend's wedding and they're like, in lieu of this chicken dish that's been sitting out and not very good because they had to make 600 of them, we got Popeyes boxes for everyone. Like, I think that would be popular. You know, everybody's been drinking, they're having a good time, and getting a big.
Like when Trump had the football team and he got a McDonald's.